Okay, so 3, 2, 1, go. Hey folks, I am Jaxler, and this is the updated any percent tutorial for SpongeBob's Truth or Square. So a couple of things to note with this guide. This guide is going to be performed on the Xbox 360 version of the game. Everything that we're going to cover in this guide is going to be applicable for the most part to all versions. However, I will note differences between Wii and Xbox 360 when the time comes. You'll find those differences up in the top left corner. There's going to be a little gray box up there, and between each split of the run there's going to be some text up there. I'm not going to cover what's up in that box. It's your responsibility to read that because I really don't want to repeat myself. On top of that, I'm going to assume that you know how to play this game, or have at least played it once, because controls vary between like versions and different controller types, and that's just not my responsibility. So play through the game at least once so you can get a sort of a feel for the mechanics, if you will. Although I will be kind of going into hitboxes a little bit. So, alright, with that being said, let's get started. Oh, and before we go, when you're doing runs, I'd recommend doing your, unless you want like a practice file with a bunch of lives, I would do your runs on the first file, because when you delete the save file, it'll automatically place your cursor on file 1. So sometimes you'll accidentally, like, if you just autopilot, you'll accidentally load into the wrong file. So I just, by default, use the first file for any percent resets. But for this first run, it's not really that big of a deal. And here we go. Oh. Alright, hold on. My split didn't start. There we go. Okay. So I split a little bit late there. My fault. Alright, so we're going to be loading into jellyfishing. So, if you've seen any runs before, you know we go for a couple of things called doubles. And I'll explain the hitbox behind the slam attack in a sec. But the basic principle is you want to group the ahead robots up together in the groups so you can hit them with less total swings. So this one is kind of random. So what you're really looking for is the guy in the back to notice you. I didn't get very lucky with this pattern. But the principle is you want the guy in the back to notice you. And then you want this guy up here, who I like to call top shelf, to not wander too far off. So the way that robots work is they generally spawn in the same place, but the game will randomly decide where they're going to wander. So you kind of just have to get lucky, although you should never reset over RNG ever. Because it only really applies to a couple of spots, mainly being that one spot. So let's talk about this hitbox for the slam. So I'm gonna tilt my camera up just so you can see. So that's what the slam hitbox looks from above. So when you do your slam, the entire head of the spatula is about the equivalent to the front half of the hitbox. But there's also a hitbox for, like, the rod of the spatula, and, like, a small circle around where SpongeBob's pants are. So you can sort of use that to your advantage, and you'll see that coming up in a sec, where we can use that, that really big hitbox in order to set up for these robo-kills. Okay, so for these robots, just walk straight ahead, and they should line up perfectly for a double. This setup is always consistent. And then you see, I'm using that kind of butt hitbox in order to nab that double. And then these guys are a little bit random. Normally you just want to walk forward and kind of look to see where they're going to go. But usually they're not too bad. So right here, stand right here, and then you can just jump up to this cliff. I'll do it one more time for reference. This jump isn't really that hard, but if you're really struggling with it, just use these crates over here. And then kill this last robot. And then once you do, try to jump onto this scary tiki. So this is the first big trick. Well, not really big. First trick of the run, tiki jump. So ideally, when you land on the Gary tiki during the cutscene, you kind of want to land on this hitbox, kind of where his eye is. Do you see where I am? I'm almost kind of like floating above his left eye. This hitbox is actually really big, so you can see me go like all the way out to the back and still kind of get a run off. So if you fall, by the way, just jump up back here. So let me explain a little bit before I show you the setup how platforming works. So if you've played Battle for Bikini Bottom or a movie game before, you know that when you jump off a ledge, you have a little bit of leniency, as you'll fall off the ledge and still be able to double jump within a little bit of a time restriction. In Truth or Square, this is not the case. The minute the game considers you falling, you cannot jump at all. So you have to time your jumps basically perfect if you want maximum distance. So this can be really frustrating for first-time players, but you can take it slow and manipulate your camera in such a sense that it's a bit easier for you. So for example, like I'll fall and I can't jump at all. I was mashing A and I couldn't jump at all. So what you want to do for Tiki Jump is get lined up in that spot right above the eye. And then typically the first time you want to do it, I would recommend moving your camera. You're aiming for that fence. And if you see that fence over there, there's a little bit of a green ledge of grass that you can actually stand on. So what you're going to do is just run straight and jump to it. That's all Tiki Jump is. So I honestly don't always like tilting my camera forward because you kind of can't see the edge. So what you can do instead is kind of get like a side eye. And then as Spongebob walks towards the edge of the Tiki, then that's when you want to time your jump. And you really want to hug the wall here. See how I'm just like hugging against the wall? That one was a little bit off, but I kind of left early. If you jump too early, you won't get the distance you need. But if you jump too late, then you'll just fall. So also keep in mind when you're timing it, is that you can move pretty deep onto the Tiki and still get a jump. So you kind of saw how long I was running on that Tiki for. So use that to your advantage. This trick looks intimidating, but it's actually not that hard. So I'm going to do it one more time. And there you go. That trick actually doesn't lose too much time if you decide not to go for it. So just play it the normal casual way if you choose not to do this trick. Although, I like doing it. It's not really that hard. It just looks a little bit intimidating. So if you're really cool, you can kind of hug the wall a little bit here. I'm getting caught up on some geometry though. There we go.
Stop swimming so fast. I've only got 5 legs.
So they're gonna come down through here. The principle of these sort of boat wheels or steering wheels is that you want to be walking with in the direction of the turn. If you're what I call walking against the current, then it's gonna actually slow you down. The physics are really wonky in this game. Alright, so for this slide, once you go past the Tiki, start tapping left on the right stick to adjust your camera so you can get around that blind turn. Alright, so we're going to set up for the first of the 2 barrel jumps of the run. So, when you're first learning this trick, I'd recommend killing these goobers. They're usually pretty easy to set up into a double. So for this trick, what the basic principle is we're gonna knock this barrel onto its side, and we're gonna put it on this long plank. And this plank actually has collision that's slightly slanted, so it'll actually roll this barrel right up to this rock. So what you want to do is you want to come straight towards this side of the crate and come towards the corner. So you're standing right here. And then you're going to push up and right against the barrel, and that'll knock it over. And then you're going to push against the circle face of the barrel until it gets onto the plank, and just use your body to keep it from rolling towards you. So you want to use your body to keep it rolling straight, and that should put it right up against the rock. And then from there, 2 full jumps, and then you're up to the ledge. If your barrel's like out here and you like can't make that jump, just do a couple little taps on the side and you should be fine. And you can also push it back in a little bit just to be safe. When you're doing this for the first time, take it slow. There's nothing wrong with doing it slow, or else you have to do all of that, and that's really slow. So one more time, demonstrating the jump. If you mess it up, for example, you push this all the way out here. That's why I like to, for beginning runners, destroy those robots, because usually they'll break this barrel. So you can actually knock over this barrel and use this one, although the setup's a little bit harder because you have to push it further. So you're still pushing it on the circle face, and then push it on the long side to push it forward in the direction that you have it. And then we're just going to do some minor adjustments. Alright, well, I missed that one. This one, it's a little bit tricky when you're using the backup barrel. So if that ever happens, what you can do is you can sort of guide it to this little gap between these wood planks, and it rolls right up. So you can try the skip again. And this is still faster than doing it the normal way. So... if you're really cool, you can actually stand it up. And if you stand it up, you don't need to push it as far. So that barrel is really easy. It looks hard, but don't worry about it too much. Alright, so the cave. So, if you've ever seen a run of this game, you've probably seen the barrel trick over here that we do. And there's actually a more runner-friendly alternative that we can do that was actually discovered a couple months ago. So if this is your first time doing a run, this is the method I would recommend. You're going to go up to this crate, turn around, and then do you see this red button up here? You're going to jump toward it and then slam. And then you'll be able to hit it while you're mid-air. These will bring jellyfish platforms down. And so what you can then do is take the normal route through the jellyfish tunnel. And then if I can adjust this game's awful camera... give me just a sec. And then you'd end up, like, up there, and then you'd hit that hammer to get the last jellyfish. But if you played the game casually, that's probably how you've done it. Ooh, I lost my buff. Oops. So let me get rid of these guys. This might be a little harder to set up. No, these guys are all gone. So for, barrel jumps, what you wanna do is angle yourself like this, and then hit slam. This will do what's called an animation cancel on the wall. Get rid of this guy. Which keeps you from breaking a backup barrel. Don't you dare break that barrel. So I'm gonna have to be quick with this setup. So the idea is we're gonna knock this on its... oh my goodness, these guys are everywhere. Okay. We're actually gonna do this the normal way. Well... so we can get rid of these monsters. I mean, robots. So, I'll actually play this out. Usually those robots cooperate, but they were not playing nice today, so... just gonna break this guy, keep the keep the robots from hunting us down. So setting up this barrel, what you want to do is come sort of approach it the same way we did the first barrel. Come towards the crate and then knock it over from the other side. And then what we're going to be doing is we're going to be aiming for, like, you see how the wall has this little, like, crevice right here? We're going to be aiming for sort of where the angle changes over here. That's where we want to push the barrel towards. So you're going to push it on its circular side at sort of angles to get it to rotate. And then once you have it lined up, slowly push the barrel in the direction. And if you need to make micro adjustments, then you can go ahead. And then once you get it to this point, give it a little oomph, and then walk behind it. And then that should get the barrel standing upright. And then once you have the barrel standing upright, full jump, hug sort of this rock, and then you should land up here. Okay? If you're having a little bit of trouble distance-wise making it, you can just ever so gently nudge the barrel, and it shouldn't knock over. There's gonna come a point, though, where you hit the wall, and it's not gonna budge anymore. So, and then you're up here. Thing to note about the barrels is the way its collision works is the highest point of the barrel is the flat part, but then towards the edges, it sort of slopes off a little bit. So make sure you're jumping from the top of the face of the barrel, and that way you'll get the height you need.
Great. Could you scratch my foot a low?
Yep, and then from there, just keep moving forward. Alright, so coming up to this slide here, you're going to want to jump past the fence and then land on the rail. And then this glob here is actually a piece of collision, so just jump around it. And then tilt your camera down so you can see where you're going, and then just jump down. And then you just hop off the rail and you're good to go. So what we're going to be doing is, we're going to grab, for this fight, we're going to grab the hammer, and it's going to cause these guys to spawn in. You're going to want to go forward, left, and then these guys in a circle, and I'm going to pause here. So there's going to be two guys that are going to spawn. One to the left, and one to the right. There's a couple of different scenarios that can happen, sort of randomly. You can either, there's three main patterns. There's, you get guy on the right to spawn first. You get guy on the left to spawn first, or neither of them spawn for a little bit. If you get guy on the right first, you kill him, and then you move around the circle, starting with the guy to your left. If you get the guy on your left first, kill the guy on the left, wait to see if you get guy on the right, react to if you get the guy on the right, and if you don't, keep moving left. Otherwise, go right. So that sounds kind of weird. So I'm going to keep pausing to react. Okay, so we got guy on the left. So I'm going to hit him, react. Okay, he spawned. And then we're going to keep going in a circle. Kill this guy. And then we're going to go towards power up. And then we'll probably have him spawn in. So we'll kill him. And then have power up spawn in. So the basic premise is that the robots will spawn in the order that you killed them. So keep track of the way that you're proceeding through in order to know where the next robot's gonna be. So I got a really funky pattern, so I was kind of iffy, but that wasn't too bad. Generally, if you have less than 2 or 3 guys left, you don't need another power-up. Alright, so let's talk about splitting. So there's 2 ways that people tend to split in this game. There are people who split when they touch a happiness object, and there are people who split on the last menu closing. I am of the latter category for a couple of reasons, but you can do it either way, it doesn't really matter. So basically when you stop moving towards an object, that's when you would hit split. That's what the majority of the community actually does, but I like to do it off menu. So I would hit split now. And that's how I would split it, and that's how world record splits are done. So if you wanna vie for world record and like follow along with my splits, that's probably the best way to do it. Alright, now moving on to Kelp Forest. So I'm gonna be explaining how to do hammer boost. But it is absolutely not required. You can get an extremely good time without it. And it actually starts losing you time if you fail it a bunch. But at top level, you do need to know how to do it. So we get the spin move now. So jump and spin into this, and it'll give you a little extra boost, and then jump over the fence. Lets you get there a little bit earlier. Okay, so I'm gonna start by going over hammer boost, the setup for it. And there's probably a good chance that I don't get it because it's really hard. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to hit the trigger for the robots to spawn. And then we're going to follow that straight middle line of nuggets towards that wall. So hit A to get rid of the cutscene, walk forward. Both of those will swing, and then lead them into this corner. Okay, so from here they're not going to do anything to you. So you can chill out here for a little bit, or they'll wander away. But oh, alright, so they'll actually wander away after a bit, so I'm going to get them back into position. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna jump toward them, bait them into swinging, and then come over to this corner. Then after a little bit, you're gonna jump over their head while their hammer is like cocked behind their head. And hopefully that should boost you above the ledge.
Why, could you do me a favor?
Whatever your little heart desires, my picky.
Finding happiness sure is painful.
There we go. Okay. So that's kind of the timing you need for the robot, and
Waiting.
there is also a slight chance that when you perform that trick, that you will get sent through the wall. If you get that, that's a task strat known as Kelp out of bounds. And if you successfully get it, there's a way to death warp to a later part of the level. I'm not going to cover that in this guide because, like I said, it's a task strat. But somewhere in the Discord, there's a link to it. You can always message me and I'll dig it out for you. But then from there you would continue. But normally, if you just want to do it the regular way, just kill all of the robots and play the section normally. Typically, if you're doing like a no reset run, it's fine to go for it until you have 1 health remaining, and then I would just go for killing them all. Alright, so this fight has a rather consistent manip for a triple. So what you're going to do is you're going to walk forward, hit A, and then hit shoulder left to reset the camera. So you're going to get 2 guys here, wait for them to notice you, walk forward, and then you'll usually get a triple. Get these guys, and then that. So I accidentally got a half double there by mistake, but normally that's another confirmed double. So that's the fast way to do it. Like I said, if you get Kelp out of bounds, you can actually skip this fight, but it's not that big of a deal. So that's gonna kill the first wave, and now this is gonna spawn in the second wave. So let's talk about spin boosting. So the way spin boosting works, and I'm not gonna go over it too much here because if you do it too much here, I've actually crashed the game on the Wii version. So don't practice it here. Practice it in the next area. But the principle is, right before we run into the spinner, we're gonna jump and then hit spin right after we jump. Right before we get hit, and that's gonna give us a lot of height. So we're gonna lure this front guy over, and then jump and spin into him. And the window is kind of tight, but it's not that hard. So like I said, I'm gonna go over this a little bit more when we get over here. So just watch out for these guys. On Xbox 360 version, you can actually get a confirmed animation cancel off of that gate if you do what's called a button slide, but it only saves like a half a second. Not that big of a deal. So go straight for the buff power up here. If you're not that good at spin boosting, you can do this part normally, but I wouldn't recommend it. So kill this guy, and then another guy's gonna come in, and then do another spin boost, and that's gonna get you up here. Sometimes you'll break them, and that's cool, but let's go over spin boosting and give you a couple examples to look at. So you're gonna run at them and spin. Okay. You gotta be careful though, because their spin doesn't last forever. So you have to make sure they're active. So, oh boy. Dang, I spin boosted so hard that I disconnected my controller. Alright. I'll try to do it without that camera change. See how I'm like right about to hit him? Yeah, I'm like right outside of their hitbox. Alright, so that's what spin boosting is. So, there's not really much I can explain about it, other than you just jump and spin into them. So, it's actually not that difficult. So then, if you come up right next to it, you can actually get another animation cancel that does the same time. So, about buff. So, when you're in buff, you want to be doing a short hop spin along flat ground, as much as you can. It'll save up a couple seconds over the course of the run. The way I like to do it, is, other than like the motion control thing, which I'm sorry if you have to deal, but I like to, have like the base of my thumb, or like the base of the bone of my thumb knuckle on A, and like the upper tip of my thumb on the spin button, and then I just like to quickly press between the two. Keep in mind also that the minute you lose sponge buff, the minute you get hit, you lose sponge buff. Okay, so a couple things to note here. If you come here on a really fast cycle, you can do a really cool thing where you go past it like that. That's only if you get both spin boosts first try, okay? So if you don't get both spin boosts first try, don't go for that. Just wait for there to be a gap between the two. Okay, so for this fight, spin jump, and then mash spin. And then for here, spin jump once, and then mash spin. Mashing spin is the best way to do damage right now, while you're in buff. So jump over the fence, and then double jump spin, double jump spin, double jump spin. Cleanest way to get through here. This trigger is height based, so don't spin into here, or you'll lose a half a second. So hit A to skip cutscene, walk to the right and then down, while keeping your camera like this. And we're gonna use this robot to spin boost up here. Alright, you need, something else to note is that the closer you are to a robot when doing a spin boost, the higher you'll go. So, you gotta take a really risky spin boost in order to get up here. So make sure you're also killing these enemies constantly, or otherwise you'll get nailed. You can also use this guy, and he's a little bit easier. And then you just jump up here.
I'd rather be jellyfishing.
So I'll do that again. So, face out, double jump, and spin. And then you're up here. A backup strat, in case you lose your buff, is you do a spin jump as normal Spongebob, and then lure the big spinner over here, grab buff, and then while this is still going, you spin jump up to these extending platforms. That's the backup strat. I'm not gonna do it because it's kind of dumb. And then right here, you can do an animation cancel if you stand right at the corner of that button. Again, that's just abusing the length of the hitboxes. Alright, now I'm gonna show you a swag strat because everyone deserves a chance to be cool. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna line yourself up on the edge, and then max jump and spin, max height jump, and then spin at the apex of your jump. And that should put you over the top of the gate. Ooh, camera's changing on me, so let me go back and reset my camera. Come on. Usually that puts you over, so apologies, I'm a little bit rusty. Come on now. This trick isn't that hard. Like I said, you shouldn't go for this trick in your first run. In fact, I probably don't even need this trick to PB, but that's the principle of it. I'll go for it one more time. There you go. And then if you feel it, just hit the button. Alright, so you can actually go between all these flowers and not take damage. So take the following path and be very careful. So just move like that. And you're gonna kill these two guys, and then I like to kill this guy, and then kill the hammer bot again. That lines up the robot in a good spot to do another spin jump to put you up here. So that becomes infinitely harder if those other robots remain. On top of that, if you kill the robots and you're too far away, they won't respawn. So walk a bit back towards the flowers, and you should get the spinner bot to respawn. Alright, so this is Yellow Submarine. He's really easy. So hit A, and then lure him to this wall. Walk towards him to aggro him to attack, and then lure him to the wall. And then just take him in this direction. And then spin him. And then you're going to guide him into this wall. And then he'll stop really early. And then this fight you really don't gotta worry, so just hit him. And you want to stand somewhere around here, and then you should spawn right on top of the chest. It looks like I was a little too far forward. Yeah, alright. So use those little pebbles over there to sort of line up. And if you're really good, you'll just instantly grab the happiness object and save the frames. Alright, so this boss is pretty brain dead. So it's essentially you're following my pattern as I move through the level. The main thing to optimize is how quickly you can get to the Robo-Pat's weak point, and how quickly you can navigate to all the robots. So walk up to this corner of the paint, and there should be a anchor arms that spawn in here. And then sort of lure him over by you, and then move to the right. And spin his belt. And then move to this back corner. This is where the first group of robots is going to spawn. So you got this guy. This guy. So I got there a little slow, so I lost some time there. But not a big deal. Alright, so he's gonna come at me like here. Come to this little spot right here. And then slowly move from left to right. And come back to this corner. I like to use this corner. You can do it on either side, but this one's generally safer because there's a hammer bot, and he likes to be rude. Then killed this guy. And then we're gonna repeat essentially the same movement pattern for avoiding this next attack, except just make sure you don't stay on the goo. And then walk right towards the center where those bubbles are, and that should give you the happiness object. Like I said, very easy fight.
I can feel that.
Alright, so now aim for Mr. Krabs by the TV. Once we come out of this loading screen. That was a really long load, jeez. Talk to Mr. Krabs over here. We're gonna go to Fry Cook. So, the beginning of this level is pretty underwhelming, although keep in mind that this is the level we get Cannon Shot. For some reason in 360, it's also on the right trigger, in addition to the Y button, so keep that in mind if you're playing on 360 and you've never hit that button before. So you have a mandatory little animation here before you can move. So walk onto this crate and then double jump. So, the buttons will auto-rotate your camera towards the button. So don't move your camera when you're going for those ones. Make sure you don't fall off the bus, because then that'll cause the bus to stop. Alright? So you're gonna jump up here. Get that one. And there's actually a slight bottleneck in waiting for this spiky spinner. So don't worry about going too fast through this section, because there is a slight bottleneck. And then when you hit that button, make sure you wait, or else you'll have to wait there for like a couple of seconds. So depending on how fast you'll get here, it'll affect what cycle of the steam pattern you get. Just make sure you have enough health to live it if you're really bad at dodging them, because the hitboxes are vague. Don't worry, we don't judge people for dying to this. I have lost PB pace runs to this before. It's kind of depressing. So once we get in range of the pier, we're going to double jump to it. Then you're going to come over here and sort of double jump around the side of the pier from like the first set of those poles. And that'll skip a cutscene where you're locked in place. Alright, so propeller jump. So you're going to stand on this piece of kelp. And this is like an idea of how far out you can go on this thing. Like, you can go super far out on this thing. Like, generally, as long as you see a piece of pink under your feet, you're probably fine. So you have a lot of leeway with this trick, setting it up. So walk out a little bit, and then we're going to be aiming for that dot in the center of the propeller. The propeller itself, the fans of the propeller don't have a hitbox, but the center dot does. So you're going to aim for it. Double jump the moment you hit it, and then you're going to jump towards the second one. So notice how, like, when I'm on the propeller, like, it just sends me flying, right? And you can actually use that property to get out of bounds in another spot here. But you can actually use that property to avoid a spin. So in general, when you're in regular Spongebob form, you don't want to do a regular spin because it actually slows you down. So if you can avoid a spin, you can save like a fraction of a second. So, gonna go for it again. And then once you get off the second propeller, you're gonna jump towards the orange bus. And that should put you over the invisible wall. So when you land, make sure you land on the bus and not on the green. If you land on the green, you'll get a, you fell from a large height, so I'm going to give you an extra little animation that loses a second. So I know I kind of breezed over that trick a little bit, but there isn't too much I can really talk about it. So I apologize, but don't you worry. If you were worried we weren't going to have more propeller stuff, don't worry. Okay, so you actually have to do this. There's invisible walls everywhere around here, so this is actually mandatory. There's two ways to get up to this next platform up there with the plankton boxes. You can A, stand on this barrel, and then double jump and spin up here. I ever so slightly missed it. Oh, come on. Come on. There we go. Okay, and then stand on here. Or if you miss that, or for some reason knock over the barrel, you can line yourself up on here and then jump up. That's the easiest way to do it. And then stand on here and bring these propellers down. By doing this, it'll keep the propellers down so we can use them for this next big skip. Oops. So let's get back up there, and normally you don't want to fall. Instead, what you want to do is you want to jump to this propeller, and then you don't actually have to jump. You can actually just walk off of it, and it'll take you to here. Okay, so this trick is pretty tough, but you'll want to do it because it saves minutes. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing another propeller jump off of this guy, and we're going to land on top of that wooden lamppost. So I'm gonna line myself up with the sort of central pole of the propeller, and I'm gonna jump for it. And then immediately, as soon as I hit the dot, I'm gonna pull my stick to the right and jump. And that should give me, with 2 full jumps the height I need to get up here. Then what you want to do is face your camera so that the pole is going forward. And you kind of want to get yourself on the edge as much as you can. And so when you're facing, like, forward, for example, if you just flick your stick, if you, like, barely kind of push your stick in a direction, Spongebob will actually turn in place. So use that to sort of line yourself up. And then you're going to walk forward for just a tad, and then do 2 full jumps with a spin. So, and that should put you over the invisible wall. So I'm going to die, so we can do this one more time. Because this trick is very tricky for first-time runners. So, we're going to have to go through this again. So, apologies, but... So like I said, we're gonna go through the setup again. You actually have a bit of a leeway, so I would actually jump right when, like, where you see these pieces of grass. Jump from right when your feet is about to touch those. So I'm gonna line up with the pole, jump off the pole, and immediately flick my stick to the right, and it puts me up there. So I'll do that one more time. Line up with the propeller. Line up with the pink dot. That helps too. Jump forward, jump, and hit right. Oh, I was a little too short. So, that means if you get flung off like that, it means that you weren't on the dot for long enough. So you need to make sure you're square on that dot. Flick my stick to the right, and we're on here. And I'm going to walk forward to this edge. Nudge myself forward. And then tap my stick to the left. Rotate my camera. Slight weight on the walk. Double jump. Spin. That one actually didn't work. And you know why? That's because I didn't walk forward enough. So we're going to do that again. Line up the camera with the propeller. Face the dot. Double jump. Double jump and spin. Walk forward. Turn around in place. Rotate the camera. Walk a little. Double jump. Spin. There we go. And now we're over here. Also, be careful not to go too far to the left or right, or else you'll take a dip in the water. That's not that great. Alright, so for this fight, what I like to do is cannon shot to the center, and then cannon shot this guy over here. A little bit faster to use the cannon shot than other attacks due to its higher cooldown time. Then come along the right side, and then just take a giant U-turn. Grab this guy, jump up here, and then grab this last guy. So you can actually start moving a little bit out of this cutscene. So be careful. I have actually fallen into the drink a couple times. Spin this, and then start moving. And then you'll get a little extra distance. And then be careful on this propeller to not jump into and spin into it, or you might just get flung off. So 2 ways to do this part. You can either jump off of this Dutchman Tiki and get up here, which is faster. Uh-oh. Alright, well, I'm dead. So we'll do this one again. So spin this again. Or, the easier method is that the Steam Geyser has a hitbox. So just jump off of that, and then get up here. And then you'll never make this cycle. If you're really cool, you can actually bounce it off of that. But just do it off, for beginner runner, just go off of that regular cycle. And then you'll have to wait again. Just kind of dumb. And just walk towards the happiness object. That's the end of the level. Also, be careful not to stand right where the chest is going to spawn, it actually is confirmed to clip you through the ground. And you cannot escape. You have to fully exit out of the level for that. Excuse me. So we're going to be going to Santa next. So this level's very short, so starting off, there's gonna be a bomb guy in front of us. He does not respawn, so once you kill him, he's gone. You don't have to worry about him. So we're gonna take an upright angle off of this, and you're gonna aim towards him and hit him with a camera shot, cannon shot while you're sliding. I'm actually just gonna get rid of him for now. Okay, so we're gonna be using these columns right here to do this next trick. So I'm just gonna jump on top of them without holding up against them, because they are guided by physics. Oh, we lost that guy. I might lose this guy too. And I'm gonna jump off the corner towards this pillar with the steam and spin. And that should put you up here. Alright, I'll do that one more time. Okay, not that hard. Normally you have that other column up there to help you, but I accidentally knocked it over. Then jump up here, and then that sort of trim around the door, you want to jump to that with a spin. And then you'll land in here. So if you want to, you could actually explore around out of bounds over here. But the problem is that there's this wall right here. So to circumvent that, you're gonna stand on this metal part. So, for example, what it looks like when you're sort of out of bounds is like this. So you're like, it's just like when you're barely sticking out of the wall. Turn your camera to be behind SpongeBob's back and just jump straight out and to the right towards these metal pipes. So you're gonna be kind of over here. Keep jumping to the left until you stop moving. Then you're gonna jump out with one jump and left with the second jump. That'll put you around that piece of collision. And then we're gonna keep moving left here. So I'm gonna walk out so you can actually see the plane. Oh, I took a death. I'm so sorry. We'll do it again for fun. But you have a lot of leeway to walk around in here. It's actually a really cool place to explore on your own if you're not doing runs. It's really neat out there. So we're gonna kill this guy again with a cannon shot. Jump up here without touching the side of the block. Jump up here with a spin. Jump to the next one. Double jump, spin. Land right on the railing. Turn the camera. Sometimes the camera will get stuck until you move forward enough. So move forward. Jump straight towards the pipes. And then keep going left until you stop moving. Then one jump out, one jump left, and then back towards the plane. And then keep holding in and right, and jump. So we're going to go through a couple pieces of collision. But I'm going to try to move the camera so you have a general idea of where we're going. So we're hugging like the inside of this wall. And if you choose to hug the inside of the wall, you'll have to jump over these crates. So keep that in mind. So you'll know when to stop when you come to this metal thing right here. And you'll also see this big glacier. So when you're first starting out, bring your hit up on the stick as much as you can. And then sort of slowly bring yourself over to the ledge. Okay, so you're right near it. Bring your camera back up. And if you look down there, you can see all 3 happiness objects for this level. So, the fastest way at any percent to do it is to only grab the bottom one. And that's the one I'll be going for. But if that's too hard, you can just grab all 3. And that's Santa. So, to sort of explain why that works, if you've never like seen a commentator run before. So what happens in I forgot to split. I'm so sorry. So the game tracks like progress by like it'll end the level when you collect the happiness object you're supposed to get at the end of the level. But to save memory, they actually put some of them out of bounds. So for programming reasons, that just is better on processing power. So what we do instead is we just collect it out of bounds, and that tricks the game into ending the level instantly. So we don't have to go through that entire level, which is really long casually. So that's a basically required skip. Alright, so this is Mermalair skip. So we're gonna come up here, and there's two ways to do this. So the easy way, the way that everyone goes for is you double jump towards the rock, hold up towards the rock, and you land on this. Then you're gonna want to land on the tiptoe of the rock, and then double jump and spin toward this railing. Okay, I'll do it. Well, I'll do it one more time because we're gonna be doing this a bit. So jump up here. It's easiest to realign yourself on this rock by jumping, because typically you'll just run right off because it's such a small hitbox. So line yourself up, double jump and spin, and land on the railing. And then come up to the center, double jump, and then spin. And then that ends the level instantly. So this also beats the level. And so for the rest of the run, essentially what we're going to be doing is we're going to be completing this another 5 or 6 times or so. So let me explain really quick how that works. So the game has a value in memory that's just like a number. Oh, and by the way, don't talk to Squidward. Talk to the book. Go left and talk to the book every time. And then you're going to click on Meeting Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy every time. So the game keeps track of how many levels you've beaten by the end level happiness objects that you collect. And when you collect one of these objects, it increments the completed level count by 1. The developers didn't intend to for you to be able to collect the same object more than once. So in essence, you can collect the same object over and over, and it'll trick the game into thinking that you've completed more levels than you actually have. So what that means is that, and for some reason, the trigger behind the door does it too. So essentially, we complete the same level, we trick the game into doing that over and over, and that's going to allow us to increment how many levels we've beaten, and increment our story progress, and then it'll eventually let us unlock just the final boss level. So that skips a boss and 2 really awfully long levels. So, you're welcome. Thanks to Cole for that one. So let me go over the fast setup. So you can actually walk on this slope for a little bit. You're not supposed to, but you can just a little bit. So if you get a run off of this, which is a bit of a precise window, you can actually get right to the top of the rock. And if you're really cool, I'm not even that cool yet, but if you're really cool, that saves about a half second, and you're going to be doing this about 5 times, so if you get all 5 perfect, that saves 2.5 seconds. So that's the fast way of doing it. Just mash through the menu. So there's a couple of reasons why I like to split on menu close, and the reason why is for the second 2 last splits. So for Santa, it's weird when you do it on collect object because you're so focused on nailing that trick. And then for Mermalair, it's a bit different because you're voiding out, but you're also ending the level, so it's like, it makes more sense to do menu closes. And for me personally, I just like to keep it consistent, so like I said, we've already done it 2 times, so we've got a couple more times to go. There is a visual cue in the hub world to let, if you lose count, to let you know how let you have 1 more cycle to do. So when you're first doing this, take it slow. Take it slow. So yeah, this trick actually isn't hard. I believe the IL world record right now is 10 seconds by me. So you'll start to see that we're moving around the hub world a little bit. So that'll lead into our visual cue for how much longer we have to go. So here's something else I'll mention is, so you might be wondering, okay, what's a good time for me to aim for when I'm first starting out? So in general, so to give you an idea, world record is on screen actually right now. It's 30 minutes and 25 seconds by me. And that was achieved on Xbox 360. And the fastest Wii time ever on original Wii is 33 minutes and 50 seconds. So realistically, an easy goal time for anyone, literally anyone, can beat the game in under 40 minutes. That's just easy. With a little bit of work and practice, anyone can get a 40. Oh, and by the way, so the visual cue. When you spawn in this far back corner, that is the visual cue that means that you have one more round of Mermalair to do before you're all set to go. So we're not quite there yet. We got one more to do, and then we'll be good to go. So yeah, so anyone, regardless of the console, anyone can get a 40. Some good goal times, like for people who really want to push deep into the game, I would say a sub 33 to sub 30, like a 33 to 32 minute run on Xbox is really good. Like high level. And then a high level Wii run is like a 36 to a 35. So keep that in mind when you're sort of doing your goal planning when you're first starting out with this game. So yeah, so that was our last Mermalair, and so we're going to be heading into the final boss. And you'll see that on Xbox there's exclamation point over his head. On Wii, you will not get that luxury. So make sure you're either using that visual cue or you're keeping good track of how many levels you got left. Smash A through here. So this fight's kind of an auto-scroller. So the only thing you can really speed up in this part are the robot kills, but those are pretty brain dead, so we'll get to... Just keep moving along until we get there. So I'm going to stand like right here, and this is going to be right where the first robot spawns. So, and then I'm going to wait for him to spawn, and then I'm going to mash hammer. And then on the third guy, do hammer and then spin. So you can start moving towards the other robot in time. Oh, I forgot to split. Oops. Apologies. So for these guys, you can actually jump over them, or you can be cool like me and just spin them to death. They're gonna come over here, and then right as he's about to hit, move to the left. And then wait for the target to actually come out, and then use the gumball wad move.
I deceived you. I outsmarted you. I won. And now I shall go.
Okay, so for this first phase, we're gonna come over to this crate and grab the buff that's in here. And grab this guy, spin jumps to get over here. Make sure you don't lose your buff, because maintaining your buff between the phases is really important. Okay, I think we're good. Yep. Those spinners can also help you destroy the core faster, so try to keep them alive if you can. And so keeping the spin through, the buff through here is really gonna help. So wait for the steam to go. There's no need to beast your way through it. It doesn't save any time. because this is an auto-scroller. Then come up to by these bubblegum wads. And get ready to mash spin. Like I said, spin with buff is actually broken. So go on, do a spin jump under those guys, be very careful, and then watch out for that geyser right there. Just take it slow. And if you're not comfortable with the game yet, I wouldn't do the swag spin yet, just to be safe. And then for this setup, you're gonna come to the middle instead, and then you're gonna do the same thing. There we go. And so you're gonna, if you keep buff, go behind you and kill that robot. But I unfortunately didn't get the kill, so I took the hit. But there is a backup one right here, so that wasn't too big of a deal. The key is just making sure you get the one behind you, because normally you have to, it's slow to kill that one first without buff. And so now we're heading into the third and final phase. This one can actually be a little bit dangerous towards the end, so be careful. Extra buff right there if you need it. Really helpful. So then stand in the same corner, and we're just going to do the same thing. And then right here, you're actually going to chill out here and wait for this building to fall. There's actually an invisible water geyser that'll just eat your, that'll make you take a hit. And you just got to be wary of the cycle. So wait for the building to fall and then go. So we're going to go back into the same corner again. And this setup is actually the exact same setup that we did in the first cycle, or the first phase. Except now we... Uh-oh. Okay, that doesn't matter because I'm on Xbox. But... So go right here. Doesn't matter for Xbox. If you're on Wii, that would matter. Because... And I know I'll repeat myself here, but there is a forced trigger in 360 to remove buff there. So you can have buff there and it won't matter. So don't worry about losing it there. And now we're going for the final hit on the core. And that is it. That is SpongeBob's Truth or Square any percent. So, that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys for watching this tutorial. Please let me know if you guys have any questions or if anything was vague or unclear. Please give me a heads up. On top of that, if you need individual help on something, there is a Discord on the speedrun.com page. That's going to be speedrun.com/SBTOS. There will be a community Discord there where you can ask questions from top runners. On top of that, if you'd like to ask me a question personally, you can PM me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Jaxler1. You can tweet at me, twitter.com/JAXWasTaken, no spaces. And you can also find me on Discord at Jaxler #2834. And I would be more than willing to help you out on this game, because I think it's a really fun speed game. So that's going to be it for any percent. Thank you all for watching. Like I said, I'll probably put this on YouTube as well. So that's going to be it for me, folks. Happy speedrunning.